It's really no surprise that the wildly successful Nintendo mascot Mario would one day star in his own comic. Hell, this guy has been in it all, from Hollywood-made movies to even breakfast cereals. He even tried selling milk back in the 90s. Fuck, I'd buy that. I have a lot of fond memories of Mario and his games. I'm a huge fan of the RPG series like Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, and of course the start of it all, Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo. You know, I've been consuming Mario products, it seems kind of like my whole life. He's pretty much just been there throughout my childhood, you know, watching me. And so as a comic collector, I've dabbled in the Mario comics myself, picking up books like this Mario-kun manga, which is a collection of chapters from the Mario-kun manga series that only released in Japan. And it also seems like other countries had translations, but here in North America, we didn't get shit, basically. We didn't get anything translated, except for this one, which, yeah, this is kind of dog shit. I mean, this book is literally a collection of chapters from the Mario-kun series thrown together to make this book. And all the chapters come from different sagas within the series. So it's literally like picking up a book, reading one chapter, and then picking up another book and reading some random chapter from that book. This right here, this is extremely stupid. Why not just at least localize the first volume of Mario-kun? Why do this shit? Why? Anyway, on today's episode, I thought we'd take a look at the Super Mario Adventures comic series that was originally published in Nintendo Power magazines during the early 90s. Nintendo Power is pretty much no stranger to comics in general. Comics have been a staple of Nintendo Power from the start, mostly little comic strips here and there featuring a character called Nestor, some sort of Nintendo Power mascot. But take a look at this issue featuring a Battletoad comic strip. These comics were usually inserted in the middle of a strategy guide section. While you're trying to figure out how to beat a section in Battletoad, you can also read a quick comic strip. So is this supposed to be funny? No offense to the writers of this comic, but humor is a bit boring. Nice outfit though. It wasn't until the start of 1992 that Nintendo Power decided to publish monthly comics that were actually series. Think Shonen Jump magazines, but with Nintendo characters. The two comics that started this all was A Link to the Past comic, and the other comic to kick off a monthly series was Super Mario Adventures. Each month, Nintendo Power would publish a new chapter in the Mario Adventures and A Link to the Past world. A Link to the Past ran from January 1992 all the way up until December of 92. So basically a full year. Mario Adventures also ran in a similar fashion, but around 1993 and 1994, Nintendo Power started publishing the Mario vs. Warrior comic series, a comic series that only lasted 2 episodes. And following the coattails of these 2 series, we then got a Star Fox monthly comic series, and even Metroid had its own series. Although, unfortunately, Nintendo decided to end publishing comic series based off their characters in 1994, with Metroid being the last comic series. In fact, after the Metroid comic, it seemed like Nintendo Power just pretty much stopped publishing comics altogether, as they even stopped producing quick comic strips with Nestor. However, they did re-pick up publishing comics in 1996, but they didn't publish full comics. They published demo comics for the Dark Horse Star Wars series Shadow of the Empire. They literally took 8 pages of that comic and just published it in the magazine. This ran from 1996 all the way until 97, where they then started doing a similar thing and publishing a few page demos of a comic series based off a Nintendo 64 game called Blast Corps. Unfortunately though, Viz Media has only republished A Link to the Past and Mario. They haven't touched Star Fox, nor have they touched the Metroid. Okay, let's actually dive into the book, shall we? From personal history, I've read this comic series online as a kid before Viz Media put them together in this book. I actually remember really liking this comic because I felt like it was the only Mario comic I could get my hands on, even if it was just online. So when I saw that this comic was being republished back in 2016, I pretty much had to get it. Just a note, before we dive into this comic, this Mario comic is actually missing one episode of Mario vs. Warrior. There is a note in this comic that does state that the Mario vs. Warrior comic in this book was considered the final episode, and they stated that it was printed in 1993. While yes, this Mario and Warrior comic was printed in 93, it is not the final episode. They're wrong. The final episode of Mario vs. Warrior was actually printed in 1994, and this book unfortunately doesn't contain that comic. Luckily though, I will be covering that in today's episode. This comic series was written by Kentaro Takekuma, sorry if I butcher your name, and illustrated by Charlie Nozawa. According to the About the Author section, Kentaro is best known for his work co-authoring a comic, or I guess book, called Even a Monkey Can Draw Manga. It's kind of a parody on those how to draw manga instruction books, similar to the ones I used to frequently pick up when I was a kid when I was trying to learn how to draw. His book is it's a bit strange. Mind you, it is a parody book. So the content of the book is all about parodying the different genres of mangas and how to draw and create them, even ranging to discussing how to draw erotic mangas. So yeah, that's in there. Charlie Nozawa, the artist who also goes by the pen name, I'm gonna butcher this, Tamakichi Sakura, didn't butcher it. He's most known for his works like Shapes of Happiness and Dad's Planet. I have no idea what Dad's Planet is all about, but Shapes of Happiness appears to be a manga series based off Nintendo characters and even featured Samus in one of its stories. So that's actually pretty cool. I would say that Charlie's work throughout this Mario book is pretty fantastic. He does a really, really good job making each panel colorful without overdoing it. In fact, what's really creative about the color scheme throughout this comic is that it utilizes a lot of reds, yellows, blues, and greens, which is the same color scheme found on the Super Mario World logo. And those colors are also found on the Super Famicom logo, as well as the button layout for the controller. Honestly, it's genius work to be able to work in this kind of color scheme. Charlie also makes our heroes and villains very expressive. Characters never seem to have an expressionless face in almost every panel, and they're always doing something, whether it's gliding in the air or even looking shocked. Charlie is very good at utilizing simplistic and cartooning looking characters interacting with some highly detailed backgrounds. For example, you have Mario and crew wandering around this lake. They're pretty simplistic in detail, but then you look around them and you see the textures of the foliage as well as the grass and the water just glistening. Speaking of backgrounds, his background work is quite amazing. He does a good job at capturing the area in which the characters are in. In fact, while reading this, I never feel lost. Like, I never had to question where our characters were at. Although I would argue his attention to detail might be a bit of a downside, as he seems to really want to capture everything the characters are doing, like step by step. Every action a character takes seems to result in a multi-sequence panel of them doing that action. For example, like we have Luigi over here trying to free Mario. I'll explain why he's in a dress later. But anyway, not only do we have artwork of him putting the key into the lock, we also have artwork of him fumbling to find the right key and then finally opening the lock and then fumbling to free Mario. Stuff like that can result in one page of this comic having up to like 12 jam-packed panels. Not only do we have Luigi freeing Mario, but at the same time, we also have other characters doing things in it, and it can be a bit discombobulating sometimes. But you'll never feel lost, just kind of frantic. Although personally, I would rather an artist over-illustrate than under-illustrate, because I've read comics where things are only explained and never actually shown, or things just happen out of nowhere or off camera or off panel or whatever you want to call it. All in all, I can say his artwork is pretty fantastic. Okay, so we've covered a little bit about the history of this comic. We've covered the art and the authors. Now let's finally talk about this comic story. I would say out of everything this comic has to offer, the story is fun, but kind of weak. Honestly, I think it's really the characterization of Mario that really bugs me about this comic. In the games, Mario wasn't really well defined in the 90s. It's not like these games had cutscenes that showed him acting expressive or having any kind of personality, like how it is nowadays. However, I do feel like the only game in the 90s that gave Mario a bit of a personality was probably Super Mario RPG, released in 1996 on the Super Nintendo. In this game, he was shown to be a courageous courageous and heroic character, a bit of a goofball, but still competent. Now, in this comic, he's kind of fucking useless. I'm not even joking, actually. In this comic, he's a liability. I mean, he had some heroic moments, but nothing I would consider worthy of being called a hero. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This comic kicks off with Mario and Luigi singing a jingle from their plumbing business. In this comic, it seems Mario and Luigi are natives to the Mushroom Kingdom, as there's no mention of places like Brooklyn or anywhere outside of this world. Actually, I take that back. Somebody did mention Mount Fuji. So I guess Mount Fuji exists in this world, but not Brooklyn? Maybe? I don't know. I do find it interesting that our first introduction of Mario and Luigi is very similar, almost a copy of how we were first introduced to them in the recent animated Super Mario Bros. Movie. Given that movie came out years and years after this comic was released, it almost seems like someone, namely the movie, copied someone's homework. This introduction then leads to Mario and Luigi fixing up some plumbing issues Princess Peach is having. Which, what the fuck is going on in here? You know, whoever designed this castle should probably be sued, because this is a shitty way to lay down some pipage. Especially for a castle. Did the Mario Brothers do this? Was this their work? Whoever did this, don't hire him. Anyway, like all Mario adventures, Bowser and his goons end up showing up via warp pipe, and this is where we're introduced to the princess herself, Princess Peach. Now, you should know that Princess Peach in this comic doesn't act like how she usually acts in the games. In the games, she's usually characterized as sort of the cliche damsel in distress. Sometimes she comes off a bit naive or even airheaded. In this comic, she's nothing like that. I mean, she has her moments of being naive or kind of airheaded, but in the comics, she's actually pretty aggressive. She's always scowling or looking intense. She's always rushing into battle, sort of head first, and usually succeeding. Unlike some people, she's pretty tough in this comic and quite courageous. Very heroic, really. Kind of like how she is in the recent Mario movie, where she usually takes charge and is willing to wage war against Koopa rather than being taken hostage. So anyway, after Koopa troops cause chaos around the kingdom, Bowser finally shows up and our heroine is put face to face with the rapping god himself. Oh yeah, I said it. Bowser is a rapping motherfucking god in this comic. I want to also note how similar, again, this comic is to the recent Mario movie, because in the Mario movie, Bowser is no stranger to singing, and that's because he's voiced by the famous voice actor Jack White. Anyway, he basically threatens to turn all of Princess Peach's people into stone if she doesn't agree to marry him, and by showing he's serious, he demonstrates his power and turns some of her people into stone, as we saw in the rap. Bowser then flies off, giving her time to think about his proposal. But Peach, not having any of this, runs after Bowser and begins her grand adventure to put an end to Bowser's evil plan. And you're probably wondering, okay, Peach is on her adventure. I bet you Mario and his brother are ready to fight Bowser as well. Well, the answer is no, because Mario was turned to stone while Bowser was turning everyone to stone. He's been stoned. Right out of the Oblivion Gates, our hero is pretty much handicapped. Luckily for Mario, this guy over here knows another guy who can help Mario with his hard-on. So Luigi takes Mario to the Minister of Massage, some Confucius-looking motherfucker who studied ancient massage techniques in Mount Fuji, or some weird shit like that. Anyway, he ends up fingering Mario until he's no longer stiff, and presto, our hero and his brother set out on their grand adventure to put an end to Bowser's evil plan, or at least catch up with Peach. Throughout Mario's adventure, he'll journey through foreign lands and meet up with Yoshi and a man named Floyd, who is a traveling salesman who ends up selling Mario a dictionary on how to speak Yoshi. Eventually, Peach will get kidnapped, but will also free herself from her captive. So it's like, oh no, she's kidnapped, and then she immediately gets herself free within like one fucking page. Again, Peach is more than able to defend herself, so being captive by these goons weren't really much of a challenge for her. And right as she glides out of the castle, our boy Mario, with his intelligence, latches on to a bullet bill and shoots straight past her. Yeah, right past her, and lands himself, get this, he lands right into the castle and gets captured by the Koopas. So yeah, this is like chapter 4 when he gets captured, and he doesn't get rescued until like what, chapter 7, meaning he spends a few chapters doing practically nothing. They really should have just called this comic Peach and Luigi, because even Luigi actually has more to do than Mario. In fact, after Mario is captured and Luigi finds Peach unconscious, he devises a plan. You see, Bowser tries to negotiate with Luigi that in exchange for Princess Peach, he'll release Mario. So Luigi does what I think most of us would have done in his situation. He strips an unconscious woman of her clothes and infiltrates the castle while disguised as her. I'm actually not even joking. Well, I'm joking about the statement I said in regards that most of us would be doing this. I'd probably not do this, but you know, that's just me. Yeah, he, Floyd, Toad, and Yoshi take her behind some bushes to, you know, strip her clothes off. Don't worry, it's all pretty tame. I mean, at least he gives her his clothes, so it's not like she's nude or anything crazy. I love how Floyd is like the only one who's all like, yeah, I don't know about this guy. Luigi's all like, shut the fuck up and get over here. What's interesting is Peach kind of devises a plan of her own as well. You see, the original plan was to have Luigi disguised as Peach order the Koopalings some pizza, and then Toad and Yoshi, disguised as Domino Pizza delivery boys, will then infiltrate the castle. Just want to highlight that they're specifically disguised as Domino's pizza deliverers. That's awesome. Irrelevant, but awesome. Also, just a note, the Koopalings don't actually release Mario. The whole ordeal was that in exchange for Peach, they will give back Mario, and well, that doesn't happen at all. That they just kind of dropped that plot line. Anyway, Peach took it upon herself to hide herself and Floyd inside the pizza delivering box that Yoshi has on his back. That, and they also hid some bombs in there as well, so her plan was to pop out once they got into the castle with the full thing of explosives. You know, she does a good job in this comic, really kind of taking charge of the situation, and I actually like seeing that. But it is really disappointing that in order to make her seem competent, they pretty much had to sideline Mario in his own adventure. He even notes in a meta comment that he kind of is fucking useless, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's like they were kind of self-aware that they sidelined Mario. Sorry though, I keep complaining about this point. I wouldn't mind it so much if Mario actually had some competent moments in this comic. I mean, okay, he does actually have at least one competent moment. You see, after escaping, or should I say after Peach blew up the castle, accidentally I guess, because you know, cute girls, bombs, yeah, those things don't mix. Peach does get kidnapped again, leaving Mario and Luigi to go after her yet again. On their journey, they end up stopping at a mansion where Luigi suggests that maybe they should stop and rest at it. Now, this is the only time Mario doesn't leap before he looks and suggests that maybe this mansion is some kind of trap. Maybe we shouldn't go in, which he was right. It was a trap, and they shouldn't have gone in. But Luigi, acting like the fool this time, smells some provolone and runs into the mansion, which, I mean, can you blame him? I mean, you chop up some steak, throw some provolone, scoop that shit into a sandwich, boom, you got yourself a Philly cheese. The man knows his food. The man knows what he wants, and I respect that. I respect Luigi for this. They of course are attacked by boos and even encounter a large boo. And Mario, actually doing something competent, defeats the boo by psychoanalyzing his fear of people, thus curing him of his anxieties. By cure, he says, just get the fuck over it, and the boo's all like, wow, doctor, thanks. Here's my money. For those who don't know, this man is in fact a doctor. He's got his medical license. That's a proven fact, according to Dr. Mario. And from here on, Mario actually starts being kind of heroic. Yeah, that's right. After the Haunted Mansion, Mario leads Yoshi and Luigi into battle, waging a war against Koopa. This time, all of his jumps are actually well coordinated as he hops from platform to platform, dodging enemies. I mean, yeah, he's still goofy, but like, he actually makes his way through without acting like a total idiot. And then finally, he makes his way to Bowser. Now, Princess Peach has been hypnotized by Bowser to marry him. So Mario ends up crashing the wedding by kicking Bowser right in the face and of course rescuing the girl. Aww yeah! Now this right here, this is the Mario I love. Yeah, kicking ass, beating the shit out of bad guys. Now this right here, this is how you ride, and he gets defeated and tied up. Fucking A, Mario. You know, there's a Japanese commercial of Mario selling fucking rice toppings, and even in that commercial, he acts like a fucking hero in comparison to this comic. Let me re-emphasize, a commercial where he sells rice toppings, he's more of a hero in that one than in this comic. Fucking rice topping, guys. He even gets laid at the end of the commercial. Oh, okay, that was a lie, but you get my point. To be fair, Mario does get freed pretty quickly and has a final fight with Bowser as Jack White tries to cowardly run away. Although the final fight is really just Mario moving out of the way of Bowser's attack, and you know, Bowser ends up really defeating himself. So, yeah, good job, Mario, I guess. So yeah, that kind of wraps up Mario Adventure storyline. Again, I do kind of apologize if I sound a little bit negative towards this book. It's not a bad story. I just think Mario acting like an idiot isn't all that appealing. Yes, I know it's a kid's book, and yes, I know Mario has always been kind of a goof. But the thing is, I love Mario RPG. And that game really showed Mario in a much more appealing light. Plus, I don't know, after playing Mario and Luigi Brothership and seeing my boy stare evil in the face and just doing some really cool shit in that game, it's hard to go back to something like this where you just see Mario acting like a fucking goof and getting sidelined all the time. I suppose this is kind of a trope in a lot of children-targeted cartoons and media where they have the main character be some kind of goofball as opposed to being, you know, smart. I would say Princess Peach is probably my favorite character in this story because she actually does something. She's smart, competent, brave, cute, and can actually fight for more than a single page. Yeah, she gets kidnapped twice, but that really didn't stop her. My girl is a fucking tank in this comic. You know, I kind of wonder if the writers were trying to go for more of a Jack Burton character with Mario. In the movie Big Trouble Little China, Kurt Russell plays a fantastic character named Jack Burton, who kinda stumbles into a otherworldly mess. Kurt Russell's character is kind of the hero of the story. He's Kurt Russell, yeah, but he's kind of more of a sidekick as he often makes a fool of himself while characters around him pretty much take charge and kick ass. But the thing is, Kurt Russell in the movie wasn't incompetent. He still fought like a badass, he still had a set of skills, and yeah, he still saved the day. He was just kind of a goofball. To be fair, Mario's quirks might be something that only bothers me, as I generally don't see any other people complaining about this. So with that in mind, maybe I'm just being what we in the professional YouTube business call acting like a little bitch. Yeah, that could be accurate, actually. Okay. So I covered the first adventure in this comic. Let's now talk about Mario vs. Warrior, the sequel to Mario Adventure, or I guess you can say it's technically a spin-off. I believe it's in the same universe as the Adventure Saga, more of a 10-page contained episode. Looking at the artwork, you can pretty much tell this is still Charlie's work. This comic is clearly based off Super Mario Land 2, which is the first introduction of the character Warrior to the Mario series. I've only played Mario Land 2, oh god, maybe once in my life, so I'm a tad bit unfamiliar with everything that happens in that game. Given it's been a while since I've played Mario Land 2, I'm not too familiar with the plot, if there really was any plot in these games. But according to the Mario Land 2 manual that I found online, it's noted that Warrior was a rival of Mario since childhood, and that Warrior has always been pretty jealous of Mario, which is exactly what Warrior's origin story is in this comic. Except in this comic, they weren't old rivals. Instead, they were old friends, or at least that's how Mario remembered it being. This comic kicks off with Warrior inviting Mario over to his castle. Mario remembers playing with Warrior as a child, and he remembers it quite fondly. In contrast to Mario's memories, Warrior, on the other hand, doesn't remember these memories so fondly. In fact, he remembers them as proof that Mario was a bully. He remembers Mario ignoring his pleas when they were picking radishes, and Warrior accidentally picked a piranha plant. Because somehow, you picking the wrong plant is Mario's fault? I guess being ignored is probably the shitty part, but I mean, Mario's probably off in La La Land. You can't be mad at someone for being off in La La Land. Mario remembers flattening coins with Wario, where Wario remembers getting flattened. Again, you can't fucking blame someone for you getting hurt and not looking up. I mean, you knew what the situation was all about. You knew you were out there flattening coins. Why wouldn't you look up? Moron. Although he does have some valid annoyance with Mario not allowing him to play sheriff when they were playing cowboys. And even Mario made fun of Wario when Wario finally got to be the sheriff. So, okay, that right there, that is a valid reason to be upset. The other stuff, not so much. You're acting like a little bitch, Warrior. Okay? Anyway, this comic features Mario traveling to Wario while encountering the traps Wario has set along the way. The traps being, of course, hired assassins. I really like how Mario handles these assassins because he didn't actually know they were trying to hurt him. He just kind of accidentally defeats them, which again reminds me of my Jack Burton comparison. But this adventure also kind of reminds me of Goku back when he fought the ninja Murasaki during his adventures at Muscle Tower. Goku never really saw Murasaki as a threat. He just kind of played along with Murasaki's shenanigans. A bit similar in the sense that Mario thinks these assassins are just trying to be playful, you know? My favorite one was when Mario meets the octopus and Mario points out that the octopus doesn't belong in freshwater, and then the octopus was all like, oh, no wonder why I was feeling sick all this time, Jesus. And then like Mario kills him by accident. You see he ends up dumping sugar in the water instead of salt, and then he's all like, well, I got to go visit my old time pal, toodaloos, bitch. I don't know why I gave him a Western accent, but okay. Mario, you ended up fucking killing this man. Or creature. Yeah, he's probably fine. Even when Mario meets up with Wario, he doesn't actually know he's trying to hurt him. Mario ends up defeating Wario by pulling this plug attached to Wario's body because Wario has this weird inflation fetish for some reason. Anyway, when Wario's defeated, Wario gives Mario a heart-to-heart, telling him about how he interpreted childhood events. Mario hears his pleas and tries to amend a broken friendship. And then he immediately shoots Wario with a water pistol, ignoring everything Wario had to say, thus continuing the torment that goes on in Wario's brain. So basically, Mario hurt his friend, you know, trauma dumping, if you want to call it that, and he basically ignored everything and immediately does the thing that traumatized Wario in the first place. Yeah, okay, Mario, you're a fucking dick. Okay, so I'm pretty much finished with the book itself, but I'm not really done with talking about this Mario comic series, as this book is incomplete. The last episode of this comic series is found in the January of 1994 issue, Nintendo Power number 56. Now, as to why this comic was not included with the Viz Media collection, I do kind of have a theory, but I don't know if it's a correct one. My theory is that maybe this comic wasn't written by Kentaro, and maybe it wasn't even illustrated by Charlie himself. Maybe. I mean, the art style looks identical to Charlie's art style, but who knows? Maybe they got someone else to sort of copy his style, and maybe that explains why this comic wasn't included. Or, theory number 2, maybe Viz Media is just stupid. Possible. I don't know them personally, but they might be incompetent. Starting on page 52, we're greeted with our hero Mario, and our, well, I don't know if I want to call him our villain of the story. Technically, he's not the villain of this story, at least, but Warrior's also there too for some reason. Anyway, both of them have been given a letter from Princess Peach about her birthday party. Although, what the fuck is going on with Warrior's face? Yeah, he looks a little too happy to be getting a letter from Princess Peach. Almost like he's going to be doing something a bit private later on, by himself, to himself. Anyway, both guys want to impress Princess Peach, so they have a flashback to when they, Peach, and Luigi, and some of the Toads were all derping around downtown. Because, you know, it's normal for a princess of royalty to be seen shopping where the commoners hang out, especially in a downtown area. Also, why are they hanging out together? I mean, I thought Wario hated Mario, and Mario doesn't seem so keen on wanting to fix his friendship with Wario anymore. So why are they hanging out? Okay. Anyway, Princess Peach spots a Samus doll, and while she's gawking at it, one of the other Toads is all like, oh, better hurry up or we'll miss the bus, which... What? What princess rides a fucking bus? Where's her, I don't know, fucking limo or carriage, or where's her private jet, you know, like the one that Taylor Swift has? Anyway, she didn't get the Samus doll because, you know, she had to catch the bus, but that does give our main boys the idea to go out and buy it because they want to impress her, you know? The story shifts towards Warrior's point of view as he is seen trying to obtain the doll, but unfortunately he couldn't because someone else had already bought it. Naturally, he assumes it was Mario and decides to sabotage our plumber's reputation. So he gets Peach a shitty gift and swaps it with Mario's gift. Although, surprise, surprise, Mario did not get Peach the doll either because it was sold out. So Mario assumed Warrior had gotten the doll and decided to buy Princess Peach a shitty gift and swap it with Warrior's gift, hoping to ruin Warrior's reputation. But it failed as she opens both shitty gifts and proceeds to cry because they were both terrible, and Warrior and Mario end up getting into a fist fight, pretty much ruining the party for everyone. Fucking dicks, man. Why is Mario like this in this comic? Why is he acting like the biggest dick in this series? Like, seriously. I mean, he makes Warrior cry in the first one, and now he's making Princess Peach cry. What the hell is up with the character assassination of my boy Mario in this comic series? Seriously, what is up with that? Anyway, the comic ends with Luigi saving the day because, you know, he's the only one who actually bought Princess Peach a good gift as he got her the Samus doll. And naturally, he ends up getting the kiss from the princess while Mario and Warrior end up being the schmucks of the story because of course they are. And yeah, that pretty much covers the entire Mario Nintendo Power comic series. I know I sounded a tad bit negative toward the Adventure Saga. I don't think the comic is bad by any means. I just was a little disappointed that Mario was not really a key player in his own comic. I mean, again, I know he's always been goofy as that is Mario. I just wish he did more than just act like a complete idiot. Plus, why was he a jerk in Warrior's comic? Like, dude, what is the deal? Overall, the artwork is probably the best thing of the series. The artwork is very 90s anime, especially when looking at a character like Princess Peach and all her facial expressions. Honestly, Peach was the MVP of this series. I love her design as well. I know she's just the usual Princess Peach design, but I like how cute and expressive she looked. Also, Luigi was another favorite because he was exactly how I expected Luigi to be. He's whiny, he's kind of wimpy, but willing to at least devise a plan to save his brother when the moment struck him. Anyway, to wrap up this video, I will say that I really wish there were more Mario comics centered around him and his friends. I did mention a Mario-kun manga series that was exclusive to Japan. It would be cool if that actually got a full-on localization rather than whatever the fuck this shit is. Or maybe we could get more comics like Adventures, or even maybe a continuation of the series. Or a brand new series, of course. All in all, I can say while I have my gripes with this comic, it's a colorful experience that really shows a unique side to these characters. Holy shitballs, Batman! And did this this project took quite some time to get finished. You see, I started this project back in 2024. The illustration you are looking at was finished in 2024. It is now 2026. So yeah, it took me 2 years to get this project finished. It's not that it was a hard project to do. I just kept pushing it off in favor of more interesting projects. Not saying this project wasn't interesting, I just wanted to talk about stuff like Code Veronica or Oblivion or Majora's Mask. But luckily I had some time to work on this video finally, and yeah, here it is. I hope it was good. The audio was done in 2025, so it might sound a little low quality. Apologies if it does. Even this illustration that we're looking at kind of looks a little janky because I've grown as an illustrator since. So yeah, thank you as always for sticking around till the end. I really appreciate the views and I hope you had some fun. I hope this video was interesting as I would love to make more comic book based videos like this. If you haven't seen, I do have another comic book video that I made a while ago. It was a Jack in the Box comic starring Mark fucking Hamill for some odd reason. But anyway, again, thanks as always for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out some of my other videos if you want to. Don't know what more to say other than giving you guys some solid advice, which is Domino's pizza tastes like shit. As fun it was to see the Domino's logo in the comic, Domino's tastes like shit. Doing this photo shoot, I had to eat Domino's pizza. I know, so bad. Ugh. The worst thing you could ever do. Ugh. But yeah, Domino's pizza tastes like cardboard. Don't buy them. Go get Pizza Hut. Preferably, though, something local. But if you have to, go get Pizza Hut, you know? So that's my advice for you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.